We've all had a diary at some point in our life. I could remember my diary. I had a lock and a key. But so it's that favorite cute one, right? So
Yep.
a diary is for the purpose of recording, just your daily activities. Today was a great day. I hung out with my friends. I mean, simple things of that nature, right? Journaling is more, I would say, intentional in terms of the structure and the formatting, and it helps promote healing.
Are you a busy woman who prioritizes everyone else's health above your own? Do you have questions about your diet, exercise, or how to prevent or treat certain health conditions? Are you always Googling health questions that you forget to ask or are embarrassed to ask your primary care physician? Girl, do you even have a primary care physician? Well, welcome to Headed to Healthier. I'm Dr. Brittany Anderson, a board-certified family medicine physician, and every day in my private practice, I have discussions with women just like you who are doing their best to juggle the demands of life while also desiring to become healthier. Inside this podcast, you'll find practical and actionable health tips that you can incorporate into your daily life. You'll get expert advice and insight from some of my awesome healthcare colleagues, and you'll hear relatable conversations with incredible women just like you who have made their health a priority and are thriving because of it. So throw on your sneakers and get some steps in while you listen. Or if you're driving, get those hands at 10 and 2 and let's dig in. We are headed to healthier. Hello, welcome back to today's episode. I'm so excited to have our guest with us today. We have Crystal Mullen Johnson. She is the CEO and founder of Strive Counseling Services. She's located in Alabama. And Crystal, I'm just so happy to know you. You actually recently came into the town where my practice is, which is actually your hometown, and opened a new therapy clinic and facility there. And it's so needed in our area, just like I know it is in so many areas in the state and in the country altogether. I have read your bio, and there's so much good stuff in there. You are so busy in addition to practicing and running your business, and I'm grateful to you for taking the time to be a guest on the podcast. I want to get into so many things. When I first came up with the idea or started really making a plan to do the podcast, I reached out to some friends and said, ladies, this is a podcast that I want to start primarily for women, but I do want to make sure that I'm actually addressing some of the needs that women have. And so many of them, when asked, what are the biggest things that you're concerned about as it relates to your health, so much of it was related to mental health, how to deal with anxiety and stress and depression and things that we just sometimes don't talk about. And I know that's one of the things I know you well enough now to know that you are really passionate about breaking the stigma related to mental health.
Absolutely. My primary goal is to break down those barriers, and we need to create platforms such as this platform, podcast, and have community conversations, as well as promoting the importance and value of therapy to help combat some of the mental health challenges people are experiencing. As we know, mental health conditions are common. 1 in 5 Americans suffer with a mental illness in America in 1 year. So thank you for having these conversations with your tribe and in the community, so we can reduce those barriers together.
Absolutely. When we think about addressing mental health, so many times we think about being, there in the therapy office. Some people may, get their mental health through telehealth offices or through telehealth services. But one of the newer ways that I'm starting to find, and actually I know that it's something that you incorporate into your therapy, whether it's in person or virtually, is this idea of journaling, right?
Absolutely, yes. So it's not uncommon that psychotherapists introduce journaling, and there are different types of journaling techniques that are beneficial. And actually, journaling was introduced early as the 1960s
Oh,
by
wow. I did not know that. There you go.
a psychologist. Her name was Dr. Ira Progrove, and she recognized the benefits of journaling and reducing the symptomology of mental health conditions.
Now, when we think about journaling, I'll show my ignorance here, and I initially I believe I think about it more like kind of writing in my diary at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is that what you would consider journaling? Because I don't think that's it.
It's not. I'm very glad that you mentioned that because we do need to differentiate the two. So, of course, I mean, we've all had a diary at some point in our life. I could remember my diary. I had a lock and a key. But so it's that favorite cute one, right? So a
Yep.
diary is for the purpose of recording, just your daily activities. Today was a great day. I hung out with my friends. I mean, simple things of that nature, right? Journaling is more, I would say, intentional in terms of the structure and the formatting, and it helps promote healing. So, as you and I talk more throughout this interview, we'll discuss what that looks like practically, but journaling should be to help you overcome, whatever it is that makes you uncomfortable, whether it's uncomfortable emotions, helping you problem solve, to work through challenges that you may be experiencing, and also to help improve your self-concept by identifying positive statements on a daily basis. So it's to help promote healing in a way.
Absolutely. And I don't want to get too far into our discussion without mentioning one of the things I really want us to get into today, and that is your interactive journal. I am so fortunate to have been able to get a copy of it. It's called 21 Day Journey to Strive for a Healthier You, and it is fantastic. I will tell you, I bought it. It was around Christmas time, I think, and I, like so many other books that I buy, I let it sit for a little while and I picked it up one day and said, "All right, Anderson, we are going to take the next 21 days to do this." And when I tell you, this is a game changer. I said earlier how many people think about journaling as we think about writing in our diary, and this is not that at all. This really led to introspection and self reflection that is so important, and also really helped me identify some things that if I'd not had this in front of me, I know I would not have otherwise identified. And so I'll ask you to talk a little bit more about the journal, but this is what we call a guided journal, right? Because you give us prompts as we go through it and give
Absolutely.
us
Yeah.
some definitions and actually some really good advice in it as well.
Right. So, yeah, it is a therapeutic interactive journal. And the intention was to create a tool for my clients to utilize outside of their sessions as we make recommendations for books for them to read and journaling. But it helps one discover things about oneself, and it allows time for self reflection. But most importantly, it helps develop a healthy habit, right? And that is spending time in self reflection to develop self awareness, which is a critical stage of healing, understanding why do you behave the way you do and why do you think in the way that you do. And also an opportunity to revisit some of the conversations that we will have in therapy. Of course, I talk about, self-care, boundaries, emotional regulation. So that's for those clients that are attending therapy. But for the clients that have never attended therapy before, this is considered an introduction to therapy. So you will
Right.
develop some self-awareness, and it helps you take that next step to make the phone call to reach out to help and work through some of those things that you discovered while working through the 21-day journey.
Tell us a little bit more about, you mentioned earlier that there are different types of journaling, and yours, of course, is an interactive guided journal. Will you describe maybe the different types of journaling? And then let's talk about guided journaling, which is what we have
Right.
here.
So, of course, there is a gratitude journaling technique, which I prescribe to clients. It's a way of expressing gratitude daily, which helps, of course, improve self-appreciation and, help you see the silver lining. Of course, you have expressive journaling, and that's where you are writing your thoughts about experiences and working through problem solving, or putting those uncomfortable emotions pen to paper daily. And with the interactive journal or guided journal that I have created, I provide journaling prompts. And the journaling prompts help you develop self awareness and self discovery. So it provides a question to help guide you through the process. So some people need that opposed to just freelance journaling.
Yeah, I think I definitely am one of those people. I need more direction. If you just give me a spiral notebook and tell me to start writing, you would have to come back and tell me to stop, right? Or you would have to
Right.
tell me to actually start. So I think that having
Right.
that guide there is really important, and certainly is was helpful to me, and I know would be helpful to so many. So in your book, you not only go through those 21 days. What I love also about it is that at the beginning you give kind of a pre-assessment, right? So this pre-challenge assessment, you call it, where you go through kind of a Likert scale. So on a scale of 0 to 5, you rate where you are. And then at the end of the 21 days, do the same thing. And so it really allows you to see kind of how you've grown and maybe where some of your struggles still are. But I thought that that was a really sweet addition to the
Yeah,
to your
I
work.
think that is important to have included in my journal because I wanted people to recognize their strengths, right? In areas that they, would consider their weakness before beginning to work through that 21-day journey. And the questions that were provided are related to each chapter. So you're able to identify your strength, as it relates to being stress resilient. And then at the end of the book, you have the post test and you're able to rate your growth. I mean, and that's what it's about. You have to begin
Right.
with the end in mind, and that's to improve, self improve, to self develop. And to heal. So that was my intention in introducing that pre challenge assessment as well as that post challenge assessment. And also, of course, you have the daily tracker, right? So I'm
Yes.
asking those that utilize the journal to spend 20 minutes a day. So you owe that to yourself. It's a gift to yourself, 20 minutes a day to work on each chapter. The passages are very long. I created this book for the busy mom, for people that are on the go, for people that don't have a lot of time to spend in meditation. We consider this a form of meditation journaling, right? And in doing so, you are adding value to improving your self care. And there are breathing techniques that are also assigned to you to review at the end of the chapter. So you're getting that holistic approach to self care management.
Yeah, the breathing techniques. Now that I loved. You should have seen me on the floor in my living room trying to get some of these breathing techniques. But what I love is that you went through step by step how
Yeah.
to actually do it. And so you honestly don't have to watch a YouTube video or something like that to see if you're doing it right. You very nicely lay out how to do it. My favorite is the pursed lips breathing. I think I
Yeah.
like that one because I can do it in the hallway at my office. I can do it at my desk at my office. It doesn't take anything other than me thinking about doing it. There's no extra noise or sound or anything that comes along with it. So that one I especially love. But you went through, gosh, how many were there? There may be 10 or 12 different
There are a lot
breathing
of different
techniques.
ones that
Yeah. Tell
I,
us just a little bit about breathing,
yeah.
breath work and the benefits of it, or
Well,
kind of why you thought it was important to include.
I thought it was really important. The research has been done on how breathing can help reduce stress levels.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it doesn't have to be, 20 minutes a day. It could be 5 minutes seated at your desk, or like you said,
Right.
taking that time out during your day when you're at home. It helps, of course, improve relaxation. It can slow down your heart rate, when you're having racing thoughts because sometimes our brain is hijacked, when we're stressed and when we're in that fight or flight state. And you have to learn how to de escalate, meaning regulate your emotions. And you can do so by practicing breathing exercises to calm oneself. So that's why I incorporated that. And I thought it would be wonderful to add value to individuals that are journaling, that they have something else to refer to. I mean, because sometimes we journal, we may feel a little overwhelmed and dysregulated. So if you're feeling that way, guess what? You can follow through with the breathing exercise that I assign. So I'm not going to allow you to just walk away not say,
Right.
well, I'm here to support you on that complete journey of healing. And that's from beginning to the end. It's like I'm holding your hand and walking you through that process of healing.
Right. I love that. And I love that you incorporated a technique with each of them. And I feel like you were so thoughtful in which technique to include with the prompt. I felt like it really flowed with exactly what I needed to go with that prompt for the day. So it's great.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
I want us to get into the journal just a little bit. So it's got the 21 different therapeutic topics. They range from approval addiction, which I know so many of us have. The control freak is the name of one of them. Remembering your why, so important. Red flags, which is something we all need to be aware of and mindful of. And stress resilience. And stress is such an issue for so many of us. I asked you just before we started today if you would mind us going through one of the chapters, and you actually picked stress resilience, which I feel great about because it is certainly one that spoke a lot to me as I was going through the 21-day journey. So I wondered if you would just take us through chapter 9 of your journal, and let's talk about stress resilience just a little bit.
I mean, I could not omit stress resilience from this book. I mean, stress is common for all of us to experience. And I wanted the reader or journaler to know that they are resilient in combating stress, but I wanted to educate them first on the different types of stress. We have eustress, meaning it's very common. It's when we are pursuing something that excites us, that motivates us. It's like starting a new job or, enrolling in a new, whether it's a graduate program or, starting college, having a baby, getting married. So it's not uncommon that stress is associated with those newfound experiences that you've pursued, but understanding that they are manageable. These experiences or the stress associated with these experiences resolve over time. So that's eustress. And then, of course, we have distress, and distress is chronic. It seems like it's never ending. And it could be associated with financial loss or a divorce or grief and loss. But educating the reader about those different types of stress and helping them understand, that worrying about things or trying to control things that are not in the context of your control worsens your stress and provides
Absolutely,
them.
100% I can speak to that.
Absolutely. And having them understand that they can champion, managing their stress by improving their thoughts, right? Our thoughts impact our emotions and the way we respond, our behavioral responses. So, encouraging the journaler to identify the type of stress they are experiencing while they're using the journaling prompt and helping them identify how to manage it, how to become more stress resilient, because you are resilient, meaning you can bounce back after experiencing a challenging time. You've done it before and you'll do it again, and you can do it again. And that breathing exercise helps you manage that stress too. And that's really important. So I really, really love that chapter.
If I'm not mistaken, I think deep breathing was the one that you put with stress. Is that
It
right? Would you mind
is.
just going through what deep breathing is like a little bit for us?
Yeah, let's get to it. And deep breathing is a technique that is most commonly used. It is to help you become more relaxed and centered. So, I mean, deep breathing, you can be seated as you and I are as we are interviewing, or you can stand and do it as well. So it's just taking in deep breaths and you are inhaling through your nose. So what I encourage clients to do is inhale for about a count of 5 if you can. And then you, of course, exhale. So it's that deep breath. So you can retain your breath for a count of 5, or I said like 10, and you're going to slowly release your breath right by exhaling through your nose. So you breathe in, and then you take that deep release to exhale through your nose. So it's really effective, and you can repeat that breathing exercise for about a count of 5. So it does not require a lot of time. And if you have an Apple Watch, you actually can time yourself. And it's also an option on your watch to stop during your day to practice breathing. So, whatever you need to hold you accountable for doing that, breathing exercise or any of the breathing exercises, do so, but you owe that to your health. It adds value to your health when you practice deep breathing, when you practice mindfulness. So, all of that is inclusive in self care management and helping you strive to be a healthier you.
You're so right, and I'm so embarrassed to say, Crystal, that I disarmed whatever that is on my watch that kept telling me to stop and take deep breaths. And so after this call, I may have to go back and put it on there because I absolutely it felt like it would always come at the most inopportune times, but those are probably exactly the times that I needed to stop and be doing it. And so
Absolutely.
I am going to take that as my cue to put that back on my watch again. I have no idea how I disarmed it, but I certainly did. And I certainly need to add that back to it. It's so funny that you said that. But I love the different breathing techniques that you mentioned here. Like I said, there are maybe about a dozen of them or so, and all of them are great. And like you said, the deep breathing one, similar to the pursed lip breathing one, is one that you can do just wherever you are. And it really does make a difference. I've tried them all. I hope that I'm doing them all right, but I do feel improvement with doing
Yeah.
them, in repetition, and it doesn't take a very long time. So I think that that's so important.
So I want to say, just by you, reading the book and preparing to interview me about the book and about the breathing exercises, you've developed some introspection, like you just highlighted, like, oh, I've been intentional, about, in ignoring, or you remove that alarm, alert, I would say, from your watch. And now you're going to change that habit to become a part of your daily routine, where you are taking time to stop and practice the breathing. So, I mean, kudos to you, and I appreciate you. That's one of the greatest examples about this 21-day journey to strive for a healthier you. It helps us develop self-awareness.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And listen, friend, there are so many things that I'm doing differently now after these 21 days. Let me just tell you. And that is why when I, first reached out to you, there's so many things that we can talk about. Your background is so extensive, and the work that you do is so great. But I wanted one of the first things that we talked about to be this 21-day journey to strive for a healthier you. I feel like it is gold. I'm sitting here with it in my hand now, and well, I love it. So, would you mind telling us? I know already, and I plan to include it in the show notes, but tell my audience where they can find this wonderful resource.
Yeah, so you can visit my website to purchase, and I'll ship it to you. Also, you can purchase the book from Amazon as well as from Walmart. So you can get it from either one of those sites.
What about in addition to this? So, I've completed the 21 days here. What would our listeners' next step be to journaling beyond this guided journal?
Right. I would say purchase a journal. Like, it doesn't have to be an expensive journal. You can get a book of blank pages, and daily you've developed the habit. So start your journal with, how are you feeling when you wake up in the morning, or how are you feeling, before bedtime at night? What did you accomplish that day, or what would you like to accomplish? And end it with on a positive note, including an affirmation. I am worthy. I can do hard things. I got through a very difficult day. And it's really great to have for self reflection. One of the practices that I do, like at the end of the year, I review all of my journal entries, and I identify how, I have worked through many of the goals that I've created for myself in the beginning of the year, because I do create goals. But I'm saying that to say, if you complete the journal in 21 days, you can do it over again if you choose to. However, if you decide to just purchase a book of blank pages and maintain that healthy habit of self care management, and put your emotions pen to paper and not suppress them, meaning bottle your emotions, allow yourself to use this a journal for self expression purposes, or make it a gratitude journal. You do your research. What is best for you? You have to do what is best for you, what's comfortable for you, and what allows you time to do on a daily basis. But do not overlook the importance of allowing yourself to have time for oneself on a daily basis to improve your mental well-being.
Right. And I think just as impactful as the information in the journal is, it was just what you said, giving myself that time through the day that I already had mapped out. I knew it was my time. I knew this is what I was working on that day. And like you said so many times, also that putting pen to paper, we spend so much of our time in front of our laptops or with
That's
our
right.
phone in our hand or other ways of express or getting expressions out that we just don't do a whole lot of pen to paper anymore. And so I feel like that almost is therapeutic too. And maybe that's my excuse for why I went on and on and on with it, with the writing. But I love that putting pen to paper. And I think that part is so important. Knowing that you can digital journal, I'm sure, as well. But I just really like the idea of getting pen on paper.
I just encourage people to allow that time for self-care. Women, allow yourself a break and focus on taking care of yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. So I just hope this helped you strive to become a healthier you. And I really hope that this supports you on your healing journey, the 21-day journey to strive for a healthier you.
Absolutely. And that's what this podcast is all about. It's finding those women, particularly the busy women who have spent so much time caring for everyone else, but have made the wonderful decision that now they are going to commit themselves to their own best health. And so we are all headed to healthier together for sure. And this book, The 21-Day Journey to Strive for a Healthier You, and the expertise of you, Crystal Mullen Johnson, and other psychotherapists and mental health workers like you is so important, and so much needed for us to get to our best health. So thank you so much again for joining us today. Crystal Mullen Johnson, an amazing award-winning therapist with over 16 years of experience in mental health counseling with this wonderful resource here. Ladies, again, I am linking it in the show notes. So make sure you get one for yourself, get one for anyone else that you know who may need one. And once you've gotten it, go over into our Facebook community and let the rest know, hey, I got my copy. Have you gotten yours? And really encourage others to do. And when you get to the end of your 21-day journey and you've completed it, let us know how you feel. And I'll be sure to pass those on to Crystal as well. So thank you again so much for joining us today.
I appreciate you. You're a champion for mental health and healthcare. So I appreciate you. You rock.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for listening in today. I hope something you heard in this episode will help you on your journey to becoming healthier. Remember, this podcast offers general health information. I am not your personal physician. If you need advice that is specific to you, be sure to consult your physician. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider sharing it with a friend and reviewing it on Apple Podcasts. Also, be sure to subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. Tune in next week for another great episode of Headed to Healthier. Until then, take care of yourself. Talk soon. Bye.